MACT here from MACT Garage, and I have another oil testing, sampling, and a battle of two oils. But before we get into that, remember, join up a MACTFORDEDGE on Facebook, and of course enjoy this video on YouTube, but I do not have comments or anything else enabled. So if you want to talk about the oil samples, join MACTFORDEDGE on the Facebook group. And that being said, we also have all sorts of other videos on the YouTube channel and lots of help on MACTFORDEDGE on the Facebook group. We are continuing this oil series, and we have the battle extraordinaire amongst the not name brand, but the store brands this time. And we got another one. We've already done the Walmart, so let's go ahead and let's try out this Carquest 520 synthetic. And will it deliver a blow against the O'Reilly 520? Yes, the O'Reilly full synthetic. We have both of them, and we're about ready to let these two oils battle it out to see which one is the better one, or are they both failures? We don't know. So let's go ahead and follow the numbers as the oil sampling of these virgin samples goes to the ring. So let's go. Rumble, right? Now, as we got that out of the way, we got these two oils going after each other, and it is a very, very tight race as it goes. We've already had about 3 samples of 6 different oils run through, so this is a continuing episode of what's going to happen with these oils. Now we're going to start out, and of course the first one that we're going to cover here is the Carquest Synthetic 520. We did the sample. The report came back from Blackstone, and they said that basically that has everything in it to be a good serviceable oil. Has moly B, titanium, phosphorus, zinc, all the common additives in it, and it is a serviceable oil. So nothing to fear on the Carquest, and it's ready to rumble. Now we got the O'Reilly. O'Reilly steps up to the plate, and they of course have their own synthetic oil that they have there, and they have of course the titanium, phosphorus, and zinc, and some boron, calcium, magnesium, all the standard additives. So it's looking like it might be a tight race amongst the two of the brands at the stores. So store brand oils are going to be battling it out hard. Let's see what these two little behemoths, as they say, can actually pull forth, and are they a good value. And I might add that the O'Reilly is $5.89 a quart, vice the $5.79 a quart, so 10 cents difference on the two costs for the two oils, so that's not much difference. So which one is actually a good oil to use in your Ford, Chevy, whatever it is? Let's just make sure we have some good oils to go by. Starting out first with the aluminum, we see that the Carquest has 3 parts per million aluminum in it, with the O'Reilly having 0, and the universal average is 0. So Carquest during the manufacture process does have some carryover aluminum that's getting, of course, transferred during the manufacturing process. There is absolutely no chromium inside here. So we have both of them coming in at 0 with a universal average of 0 chromium for the transference. No metals in there that are associated with any type of wear, which is what we want when we first start putting our oil in. Now during the manufacturing process, the Carquest does pick up 2 parts per million of the iron, and the O'Reilly picks up 1 part per million in the process. So that tells me that maybe the processing of the Carquest has a lot of transference during the manufacturing process. But again, the universal average is 1 for iron in all your oils. So it's not a big deal, but again, quality, right? Quality. Copper, we have both Carquest and O'Reilly ringing in at 0 with a 0 universal average for copper content. So we are doing great as far as these oils go. The lead content is 0 for both the Carquest and the O'Reilly, with a universal average of 0 involved in the manufacturing process and everything else. So again, double out on this one, nothing to fear. Tin, What kind of tin do we want? We want no tin in our oil, and that's what both the Carquest and the O'Reilly deliver. 0 parts per million with a universal average, again, of 0. So we have no tin in our virgin samples. Molybdenum, yes, Molly B. Okay, try to do that 3 times real quick. Anyway, the Carquest comes in and decides to dump in 58 parts per million of the Molly B, with the O'Reilly up in the ante to 66 parts per million of the Molly B. Now, that being said, the universal average for virgin samples is 71 parts per million, so both are slightly lagging in the Molly B add, but anyway, they do have some in it, so it's not an insignificant amount, but it is not the universal average. We have nickel. Nickel is a metal we don't want in our virgin samples because we might have some later. But again, Carquest and O'Reilly both throw out 0 as far as their content for nickel, and universal average is 0 to go with that also. So they are standing alone in there and providing us with all the good quality oil we need. Manganese. Manganese is another double aught. That means Carquest and the O'Reilly are both at 0 with universal averages also at 0. So we are good to go. Good clean samples here. Silver. Absolutely no silver in Carquest or the O'Reilly samples, with universal averages still running 0 for that also. So we are good to go. So far, head to head, I give a slight lead to the O'Reilly, believe it or not. Let's see what happens on the next one. Titanium. This is what the newfangled stuff is carrying. Everybody's tossing in titanium. It is known as a good metal, anti-wear additive. And we have the Carquest saying, hey, I'm going to dump 31 parts per million of titanium in the oil, and the universal average is 3. But whoa, wait a second, O'Reilly decides to up it just a slight bit to 33 parts per million. So again, we are both almost equal, but it goes to the O'Reilly this time. Yep, O'Reilly has it by 2 parts per million. Not a big lead. Potassium. Potassium in both the oils is 0 with a universal average of just 1. So negligible at this point and not really much effect as far as additives go. Boron. Boron is up there, and we of course have both oils clocking in with some potassium, and the Carquest goes a 199 parts per million for the potassium, with the O'Reilly jumping up just a bit to 210 parts per million, and the universal average is 90 parts per million. So both exceed the boron output for universal averages and therefore are ahead. Again, O'Reilly jumps slightly ahead. Silicon. What do we got for silicon? Our anti-foaming agent, etc., etc. The Carquest sample has 7 parts per million, while the O'Reilly has 6 with a universal of 4. So being it's closer to universal, and the silicon is debatable on the anti-foaming, again, they're very, very close, not enough to make a difference. Sodium. Yes, sodium. We have the Carquest coming in at 0 parts per million, with 1 part per million for the O'Reilly, and 57 parts per million being the universal average. So that being said, they're both behind the power curve, but not a very big difference between the actual 2 oils compared. Calcium. Now we're bumping up the numbers on the calcium. Calcium is a great modifier that adds for some lubricity. Yes, we want to make sure we have plenty of slippage going on there. So calcium is one of the main ingredients, and we have the Carquest coming in at 1,083 parts per million, but O'Reilly says, whoa, hold the track back here. We got 1186 for the O'Reilly, which takes the lead again for the calcium content, but both are still lagging behind the universal average of 1,892. So falling short, but yet the O'Reilly is still got more of the additive. Magnesium. Magnesium is a good thing to have in there. Helps clean and everything else. and the Carquest comes in at 773 parts per million, with the O'Reilly running at 846. The universal average is 93, so again, O'Reilly takes the cake on this one and is ahead of the Carquest. Phosphorus. What do we got for phosphorus? Well, the Carquest has 708 parts per million for phosphorus in the Carquest, and then we have the O'Reilly bumping it up again at 758 parts per million for the actual phosphorus additive, and the universal average is 658. So again, both exceed the universal average, but Carquest still keeps the lead. O'Reilly still keeps the lead. Oh, wow, good tongue-tied on this one. O'Reilly has the lead yet on this one. Zinc. Now we have the additive of zinc. Zinc is a very common additive. You tend to not to want to go over 800 parts per million, and over that isn't much, but we're going to try to stay there. But Carquest comes in at 776 parts per million, and the O'Reilly has 834, where the universal average is 771. Again, not very much over the 800 for the O'Reilly, so we can still give that to it. Overall, that is a great scoring on the additive so far. And the last but not least is the barium, and never see much barium in any oil. So we're looking at 0 for the Carquest and 0 for the O'Reilly, with a universal average of 0. So now we got to move up to our viscosity testing and see what the actual numbers state for both of these. So the SUS viscosity test at 210 degrees Fahrenheit. We have the Carquest running at a 53.4, and we have the O'Reilly running at 52.1. And again, the universal averages are between 47 and 60. They're both just about in the middle on this, so there's not much difference as far as their viscosity testing on this one, but we're going to see what the next one has to say. The CST viscosity at 100 degrees Celsius. The Carquest pops in at 8.31, and the O'Reilly runs at 7.92. Very, very close to each other, with the 6.3 to 10.5 being the average they're wanting to see. Both of them well within the mid-range on the CST viscosity test. Flash points. Men from the boys here, right? Well, the flash point for the Carquest is 430 degrees as a virgin sample, and 435 for the O'Reilly. The O'Reilly still has a better flash point, and that plays in the end when you start running it down the road and using it. Fuel gets dumped in, and you always want to try to keep your flash point above a certain limit, and in this case above 400 degrees. So will they make it during a use test is the question. Of course, there's no fuel or anything involved in this oil because it is a virgin sample. There is no antifreeze or coolant involved in either one of these samples, as would be expected. No water, which means they got a good tight process in the manufacturing, so there's no water or insolubles that are located or traced within this sample. Sometimes you get a trace because some samples fall out of suspension for additives, but in this case there was none of that happening here. So we have both of these oils, of course, gone over for the virgin samples, and in this case we have to declare a winner against this battle, and we do have, of course, the Carquest right here, and we do have the O'Reilly. And with this one being done, I'm going to have to give the O'Reilly the win. So that is it, and it happens to be, I think, what I say, the cheaper of the two. So we got a good oil sample here, so if you decide to use any of this, well, rest assured, it has the titanium, it has the calcium, and all the other cleaners in it. A good, reasonable oil to buy and use, and a decent price on top of it compared to some other brands that you've seen in these videos. So the pricing versus additives and everything else, I think we got a good runner in the O'Reilly, and the O'Reilly, is probably a decent oil in this case. But that is up for you to decide. This is just my opinion based on the data that I just followed along with you at. And I assume that is a good valid test because I use Blackstone all the time. So they're a national recognized laboratory. Therefore, our results are going to be spot on as far as the testing goes. So I want to thank Blackstone Labs for the testing they do. But keep in mind, all this testing is paid for by me. I am not influenced at all by any manufacturer because I use my own money to buy the oil and I use my own money to pay for the lab testing. Therefore, it is an unadulterated viewpoint on what's going on here. So if you want to know what the regular guys like us do, this is what we choose, and based on the data, I'm going to say, yes, we got some good data here, and this oil is serviceable. Either one could probably do the job. So this is MACT Garage, and of course, remember, every day is a great day, and my feet hit the floor today, and I'm having a great day. Remember, Facebook and YouTube. Join up on Facebook, and also view and like and subscribe and everything else the YouTube channel. With that being said, I have the Band of One playing some great music at the end of this video. And, of course, Mercy Girl's got a couple one-liners she's going to toss at you all. Until then, enjoy the footage at the end, and I'll see you all in the next episode.